You slept 8 hours, maybe even 9, and yet you wake up feeling like you got hit by a truck. You're groggy, heavy, and the last thing you want to do is get out of bed. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. And you're not broken. The problem isn't how long you slept. It's the quality of the sleep you actually got. There's a big difference between time in bed and actual restorative sleep. And several things can silently ruin your sleep quality without you knowing, because you're asleep when it happens. Let's go through them one by one. The first reason is sleep cycle timing. Remember from episode 1 that your sleep moves through 90-minute cycles, ending in REM sleep. If your alarm goes off in the middle of deep sleep, stage 3, you'll feel terrible. This is sleep inertia. Your brain is dragged out of its deepest, most restorative stage before it's ready. The fix is simple in theory. Try to wake up at the end of a cycle, not in the middle of one. If you need to be up at 7 a.m., count back in 90-minute blocks. 7 a.m., 5:30 a.m., 4 a.m., 2:30 a.m. Work out what time you need to fall asleep to land at the end of a cycle. Apps like Sleep Cycle can also detect your lightest sleep phase and wake you within a window, which makes a noticeable difference. The second reason is sleep apnea, and this one is more common than most people realize. Sleep apnea is a condition where your airway partially or fully collapses during sleep, causing you to stop breathing briefly, sometimes hundreds of times a night. Each time your body wakes itself just enough to breathe again. You never fully remember these micro-awakenings, but they completely shatter your sleep architecture. You spend hours in bed, but almost none of it in deep or REM sleep. The most common signs are loud snoring, waking with a dry mouth or headache, and feeling exhausted no matter how much you sleep. If this sounds like you, it's worth speaking to a doctor. Sleep apnea is treatable, and the difference it makes is significant. Third, alcohol. We touched on this in episode 3, but it's worth going deeper. Alcohol makes you fall asleep faster, which fools people into thinking it helps. But in the second half of the night, as your body metabolizes the alcohol, it causes a rebound effect. Your sleep becomes much lighter, you wake up more frequently, and REM sleep is heavily suppressed. You might sleep 8 hours, but spend very little of it in the stages that actually restore you. Even 1 or 2 drinks in the evening measurably reduces sleep quality. Fourth, stress and cortisol. When your stress levels are high, your body produces more cortisol, a hormone that promotes alertness. High cortisol keeps you in lighter sleep stages and out of deep sleep. You might technically sleep through the night, but your brain stays in a kind of low-level vigilance the whole time. This is why after a stressful week you can sleep for 9 hours and still feel exhausted. The sleep itself is shallow. Fifth, your environment. Even small disruptions you don't consciously register, a partner moving, a distant noise, a room that's too warm, can pull you out of deeper sleep stages repeatedly throughout the night. The brain continues processing sound during sleep. You won't remember waking, but the damage to your sleep structure is real. A cool, dark, quiet room matters more than most people give it credit for. Sixth, sleep debt. If you've been running on poor sleep for weeks or months, a single good night isn't enough to fix it. As we covered in episode 2, the recovery from chronic sleep deprivation takes time. You might sleep 8 hours, but if your baseline is deeply depleted, your body is still paying off a large debt. One good night helps, but it's not a reset button. So what do you actually do about all of this? Start by looking at sleep quality, not just sleep quantity. 8 hours of fragmented, shallow sleep is not the same as 6 hours of solid, uninterrupted, deep sleep. Track your sleeper with an app if it helps. Not to obsess over the numbers, but to spot patterns. Time your alarm to the end of a 90-minute cycle. Keep your room cool, dark, and quiet. Cut alcohol in the evenings. Manage stress before bed. Even 10 minutes of quiet reading or breathing exercises helps lower cortisol before you sleep. And if you suspect sleep apnea, get it checked. The goal isn't just more sleep, it's better sleep. In the next episode, we're covering something most people ignore completely: how light, both natural and artificial, controls your entire sleep-wake cycle.